So last week I finally released my Avatar video, meaning we are back! I can work on anything else! I thought a pretty good, relaxed video topic could be a ranking of every Jurassic Park movie, in the same style as my Indiana Jones video from a while ago. The difference, I have much more personal affection for this series, and also a lot less to say about most of these movies, so this should be a breeze. Jurassic Park consists of 6 movies, all of which are super different in spite of having similar formulas. Mostly. I love these movies. Mostly. Because, yeah, about half of this franchise really isn't good. So, this may take a little longer to get into the actually good movies. So, yeah, let's just get into it. We're just gonna start. Spoilers ahead for the entire Jurassic Park franchise.
I have a bread and it's called pumpernickel. Yum, yum, pumpernickel bread.
Jurassic Park 3 is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Okay, that might be an exaggeration, but it's probably one of my personal least favorite movies ever. Because, like, what a waste of a film. This thing does nothing interesting whatsoever. It doesn't even feel like the other Jurassic movies. It feels like a knockoff movie you'd find at the bottom of a Walmart bargain bin. This stupid kid gets stuck on Island Nublar, and so his parents hire Alan Grant to go save him. Yay. Alan is the best part of the movie. They do nothing interesting with his character, but, like, he's a likable character with some funny, memorable moments, because, yeah, otherwise this is the worst cast in any Jurassic movie. The rich parents are just kind of boring. Oh yeah, I don't think they're actually rich. I just remembered, I think it turns out they were faking it. Anyway, the other crew members are just, like, completely blank slates, and most of them just die, so we can't get you too attached to them, because they'll die. Billy seems like he'll be a fun character at first, but then accomplishes nothing by the end of the movie. The kid is okay. He's just not very memorable or interesting. I think it's kind of funny that he managed to, like, to survive all by himself. It's kind of cool, I guess. Sure. The dinosaurs are laughably unimpressive. The CGI elements are technically improved, sure. But, like, also, it's the third time around. These aren't impressive effects anymore. And anytime there's a practical effect, it looks awful! Cheesy is not a word I'd use to describe any Jurassic Park movie except this one. The Spinosaurus, while awesome looking, is also so stupidly implemented. It just spawns in whenever we need an action scene. Woohoo, what a compelling antagonist! The way you can tell it's coming via the ringtone because it eats a phone is, like, kind of fun, but they don't do anything interesting with that knowledge. There's a Barney the Dinosaur joke in this movie that feels like a YouTube fan film from the mid-2000s. Just atrocious. The worst part, though, is despite the fact it's a mere hour and a half long, it feels like an eternity. This is the most boring entry in the entire series despite its length. Bad movie. I'm sorry to start out so negative. I do not like a single thing about it. Okay, the pterodactyls are pretty cool, but that's it.
San Diego.
San Diego?
White sandy beaches?
What the heck happened with the Lost World Jurassic Park, man? This was a direct sequel to the original, directed by Steven freaking Spielberg. Don't know if you know who that is, but he's kind of a big deal. Might be the best director of all time or something. Anyway, this movie is long and boring and lacks so much character. Ian Malcolm is my favorite character in this franchise, but he just isn't nearly funny or eccentric or charming enough in this movie. The supporting cast, while they're more memorable than Three's, is still, like, pretty unmemorable, and they're all just kind of whatever. Ian's ex-girlfriend is kind of annoying, his daughter is super annoying, and the other pals just aren't very interesting. Though they are likable, and it makes when they die inevitably, like, pretty sad, actually. Yeah, good job. Circling back to the daughter, I really hate how she's written. The idea of having Ian's relationship with his kid be the emotional center for a sequel is great on paper. The issue is that Ian's daughter is entitled, bratty, and annoying, and the movie doesn't call it out. I like the idea of Ian's daughter being a spoiled brat. Like, that kind of works for me, given who Ian is. But no, Ian's the only one who gets flack for not wanting his kid on a dinosaur island. It's bad writing. I'm okay with bratty, obnoxious child characters as long as they get called out for being as such, and this kid doesn't. The villain sucks as well. Literally, who even remembers Peter Ludlow? He's incompetent beyond reason, not all that intimidating, and just painfully boring. His plan is the most unsmart thing imaginable. He wants to make a Jurassic Park in San Diego. What could possibly go wrong? Anyway, it goes wrong, and honestly, the climax with the T-Rex in the city is the best part. it's kind of fun that this just becomes a kaiju movie by the end. This is where Spielberg's direction finally pops off. Took a while. I like that part. And the setup to the plot is actually kind of fun, with Hammond asking Ian Malcolm to go get documentation that the dinosaurs are alive on Isla Sorna. So we're following a research team onto the untamed island, and it's a fun setup. But yeah, as soon as Engine shows up, it all goes downhill from there. Anyway, the movie is very boring, and the action, while well produced, is boring. The sequence with them hanging off the cliff, the raptor attack, and the abandoned buildings, it's all just... It's whatever. Like, she does gymnastics and kicks a raptor at one point. That was like... Especially, like, when you compare this to the first movie. These are all just kind of worse versions of the Jeep attack and the kitchen stealth sequence, and yeah, luckily the climax is just, like, that good, and Spielberg's direction is good enough that it's miles better than 3. This is not an awful movie, but it is pretty bad. And I will say, there's no more bad movies in this franchise. That being said, one comes awfully close, like it's on the verge. Jurassic World Dominion is like... I think I like it. There's a lot of neat stuff, and finally integrating the original characters into the modern story feels like it took far too long. They fit right in alongside the new characters. So many fun little lines that are a bit on the nose, but I like them anyway. Like when Ian criticizes Owen for befriending a dinosaur, or objects to saving Henry Wu after all the problems he caused. That's all fun. Yeah, Ian Malcolm is still the best character in this franchise. Like, he's charming again. Woo!
So I didn't mention it anywhere, but the movie was worth it for this.
Allie?
Yeah, you two should kiss.
I am coming with you.
Kiss each other!
Lewis Dodgson is one of the only good Jurassic Park villains, too. I adore how pathetic he is. It makes him so entertaining and instantly unlikable, but also likable. You know, you love to hate him. I love the scene where he freaks out and kicks the chair over and over again, legitimately. It's both hilarious and terrifying. I dig it. He's kind of like a blockbuster Grover Fishoder, actually. The conflict between Owen, Claire, and the clone child is engaging, and the clone child's backstory is like... neat, I guess, yeah. The action's decent, the climax is pretty exciting, and the ending is a pretty satisfying place to leave this entire franchise, at least in my opinion. Plus, the new side characters this movie introduces are all very fun and pretty memorable, especially this dude that works for Dodgson. I like that guy. Wow, that was a lot of praise, right? So you're probably thinking, what's the issue? So did you notice I didn't bring up the dinosaurs? Yeah, where are they? Now, okay, obviously there are dinosaurs in this movie. Many dinosaurs. The issue is that, despite the fact that dinosaurs are just now in the world all over the place, they really aren't important to this movie at all. This movie is much more about the science behind the dinosaurs' creation and using that science for completely different things. Clone Child's origin is a really good example of something very important that doesn't really connect to the core concept of the series. Like it kind of does, but not really. Plus, the main threat for the majority of the movie are these genetically modified locusts that Dodgson and Wu made, which, not dinosaurs. It's horrifying, but they aren't dinosaurs. And there's also the Giganotosaurus, who the director compared to the Joker. Yes, this is real, look it up. Cool dinosaur antagonist. Again, the climax with this thing is real good, but also it's only really important during that climax, which is fine, just a little bit underwhelming from the dinosaur series, when your dinosaur antagonist is basically just like a final boss and not, you know, an antagonist for the majority of the movie. Plus, while all the characters are likable, none of them outside of Alan and Ellie get any sort of super satisfying development. They just feel like action heroes doing their mission, but that's fine. It's not that big a deal. This series hasn't been super focused on character development in a while. There's also just like a lot of concepts that feel kind of underdeveloped. This dinosaur trading black market, and even Dogson's wildlife preserve. These are all cool concepts and areas that ultimately just become a backdrop to the action scenes. The motorcycle chase especially is so boring. I'm sorry, this is not Jurassic Park at all. This is some like Mission Impossible nonsense. At least Ian Malcolm is finally back, as I mentioned before, and I love him.
There is only one way to get your precious water. I, your beloved King Julian, must simply make a small sacrifice to my good friends, the water gods. In the volcano!
Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is fun! This movie's dumb, sure, but like, it's fun! I like a lot of what this movie does. Do I think we should save the dinosaurs after all the terrible catastrophes that have happened throughout the series? Not especially. Do I think Eli Mills is a good villain? Not especially. Is the clone child freeing all the dinosaurs actually a good idea? Not especially. But darn it, this movie is insistent and I have to respect it for that. They make you feel bad for the dinos left behind after the island finally goes kablooey. They make Eli kind of intimidating in spite of him being just like a nothing villain otherwise. They make you empathize with Clone Child just enough where you can't be too mad at her for freeing all the dinos. And there's a lot of fun dino action in this movie, and so much variety in the actual dinos. That's great. Claire's at her most likable in this movie, and Owen is easily the highlight because his relationship with Blue is actually really compelling. I love this side of the movie. I love how Owen is genuinely so attached to this bloodthirsty raptor and ditches all sense to save her. That's fun stuff. The secondary cast is fun too. The Detective Pikachu kid is delightful, and the nerd gal is pretty fun too. The side plot with the Lockwood Foundation conspiracy is pretty intriguing, even the payoff is, a little underwhelming. I also really love when Henry Wu shows up. It's that moment where you go, oh, of course he's in on this. That little punk. Henry Wu's a great antagonist, plain and simple. And even bring up his ending in Dominion. That's a good scene too. I'm glad he got like that ending, yeah. And oh my goodness, the climax! I love the Indoraptor, easily the most fun of any of the DNA splicing stuff from this trilogy. It's terrifying, it makes for one heck of a final boss, its death is super sick too. The mansion is a crazy good location for insane action, like, great, yeah. Also, the dinosaur auction, that's a fun concept. Yeah, good movie overall. It's pretty telling that I don't really have much to say now, but like, still, good movie. Yeah. Oh, we're already done. Oh, woohoo!
Oh, this? I got it on eBay. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I got it for $150, but the mint condition one goes for $300.
Didn't occur to you maybe that's in poor taste?
The shirt? Yeah, no, it did. I understand people died. It was terrible, but that first park was legit.
Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom both kind of go back and forth in terms of my enjoyment for them. It just kind of depends on the day. But in the end, had to give Jurassic World the edge for being the single purest Jurassic Park experience aside from the original. Which, hey, by the way, the original is #1. That's the most, like, unsurprising #1 ranking in the world because literally every single person on the planet agrees with it. Everyone. Jurassic World, though, I think it needs some credit for being the closest to the original film in terms of tone, themes, and action, while also having a distinct plot, a ton of new characters and dinosaurs to keep it all fresh. Honestly, you could just skip Lost World and 3, because this is the only Jurassic movie that feels like a direct expansion on that first movie, and the other two are expansions on this movie, so that's actually pretty interesting. Let's get the obvious highlight out of the way, the Indominus Rex. Truly a terrifying hybrid dinosaur with ungodly abilities that is so smart it fakes an escape just so it can walk out the open door. That's cool. I've seen plenty of people criticize, oh wow, the people running this park sure are stupid. Why would they give this dinosaur super intelligence and camouflage and legitimately decently length arms? Like, why would they do that? That's so stupid. And to that I say,
Yes.
that's the point. Much like Hammond in the first film, they flew too close to the sun. They wanted a new standout attraction, and they got it. They didn't need it, but they got it! And it went wrong because they tried to play God. It's pretty clever, actually. And again, it's an expansion on themes and subtleties of the first movie, which, like, 4 movies in, the first time they did that, I appreciate it. And from an action perspective, and actually just a regular old plot progression perspective, the Indominus is a very effective antagonist, with its abilities and bloodlust causing it to be one formidable foe. And the developments regarding its creation make for a pretty intriguing mystery. Also, while it's not the best climax in the series, I prefer Fallen Kingdoms and also the first movies, but, like, it's still a very good climax, and this thing's death is incredible. The cast is pretty good, too. I don't think anyone genuinely prefers these guys to the original cast, but they get the job done in terms of being new people to follow in a world where dinosaurs existing is now just kind of common knowledge. And Jurassic World is actually successful, which is cool in itself. Like, that's just fun. Owen is a great character, mostly because he's the one voice of reason throughout the film, and Chris Pratt pulls it off pretty well. He's very fun. Claire's annoying and delusional, but not beyond saving, and she does redeem herself big time. Her running from the T-Rex into heels is very silly, like everyone points it out, but like, why did they choose to linger on the heels? Like you didn't need to do that. Like, we wouldn't have really thought about it, but like you showed them. So anyway, the kids. Okay, I really cannot stand these kids. They bring down the movie so much. The little one is fine, kind of cute. He's not, like, very well acted or endearing, but, like, acceptable, I guess, sure. The older one's just obnoxious. His storyline about being a better role model doesn't feel earned at all, and I can't stand him. He is the single worst performance as well in, like, any Jurassic movie. I hate him. Oh yeah, and then there's Hoskins, the other villain who, like, wants to weaponize dinosaurs for the military. He's stupid and not intimidating, and I don't know, he kind of sucks. Henry Wu's pretty great, though. What a weird little psychopath. The fact they turned some minor character in the original into such a profoundly fun villain in this sort of sequel trilogy is great. Yeah, this is a good movie. There's some boring stretches, some characters who are more annoying than anything, some undercooked plot lines, but like, I don't know. It's good. What do you want from me? Also, I like Lowry. He's my favorite character. I'm so glad he didn't end up becoming a major character in the following films. He's much more effective as just the underplayed MVP of this movie. I'm glad they didn't Korg him. Let's move on to, like, the obvious winner. Jurassic Park is one of my favorite movies. What a bold opinion to have. Literally everything about this movie works. It's paced flawlessly. The first half is ludicrously entertaining despite the lack of action. And look, I'm gonna be real, I'm not even that big an action fan. This was gonna work for me no matter what, because I love dialogue more than anything. But I figured I'd bring it up in case you aren't like me and like love action movies. So, yeah. Anyway, great movie. What really keeps it compelling for me, and what makes it age so well in my brain basket, is the fact that it's not really an action movie in the typical sense. It's actually closest to a horror movie. Not, like, disturbing, but, like, it's all about building up this sense of whimsy and false sense of security in the characters. Then slowly, everything goes horrifically wrong until there are dinosaurs on the loose. Run! It all revolves around this moral, ethical, scientific conflict about whether it's right to bring back these creatures that had their shot, and if these scientists should be playing God. Spoiler alert, the answer is no! The conversation scenes in this movie are easily the best part, by the way. Like, anytime the characters are sitting at a table eating food, it's peak fiction. The kids in this movie are kind of annoying, but, like, in an endearing way. I actually like them both, and I like Alan's little arc, where, like, yeah, okay, seeing how long I could talk about this movie without bringing up the characters, but yeah, the cast is incredible. Alan and Ellie are both such compelling voice of reason characters, but obviously, Ian Malcolm really steals the show here. He is the most charming, well-performed, delightful goofball in this movie, and gets so many iconic lines that it hurts. There's a reason everyone quotes this man religiously. John Hammond is so fascinating, because, like, you know, in most stories like this, including the original novel, John would be the villain. He's the one who created the park and continuously tries to justify it. Here, though, John's not a bad guy at all. He's actually a total sweetheart who everyone likes. He just flew too close to the sun. The supporting cast is all really great. The Australian hunter guy, the villain who's the average Twitter user, Samuel L. Jackson guy, the lawyer, they're all fun. And the effects, revolutionary. It will always be the most annoying thing to me when people let dated animation get in the way of their enjoyment of something, like even slightly. I see people all the time go, oh yeah, The Incredibles is the best animated movie of all time, you know, except for the ugly dated animation, but like, I would not change a frame of that movie because it's gorgeous. Less technically impressive than what we can do now, but like, it looks great, it looks distinct, and there's so many factors that people ignore. People still say they love old school 2D animation, and for me, the same applies to 3D, and the same applies to Jurassic Park. Who cares if there are a couple of rough CGI shots? This is revolutionary technology, and it's remarkably important. The action is great too. The entire climax with the raptors is perfection. I love every moment of this movie. This is the best one, but everyone knows this. And everyone's talked about this movie to death, so I'll shut up. That was the ranking. Disagree with me. Disagree with me. Bye.